Hi, Susie with the Speckled Loon. How is everybody doing today? I'm just hopping on a minute or two early to check my tech, make sure that everything's up and running so we can have a quick hour. I'm hoping we can keep it within an hour of crafting. So I'm just going to check my Facebook and YouTube feeds. I'm going live simultaneously, and I just want to make sure we are online there. And then we're going to be going through and painting some patriotic stuff today. So that's exciting. It is Memorial Day, so I thought it would be fun to create and do our Memorial Day projects. Let's see if it came up here. Oh, for heaven's sakes, nothing wants to work for me today. Let's just see here. There, it says I'm live. All right, so YouTube is working. I'm going to tap that out so we don't have echoes. And Facebook is working. Great. Good deal. If you have any issues or anything, let me know. Whoever's on with me today, if you want to just type in the comments a hello and where you're chiming in from, that's great. It's the lunch hour. Are you eating lunch? What are you eating? I'm eating afterwards. So I kind of have a hard stop at 1. I go and I walk my son's dog every afternoon, and I have to go about 1 o'clock to do that. So that's why I'm going to try and keep this under an hour. We're going to try. I'll have my clock on looking and be checking my watch. I don't want to hurry. I want to get all our projects done, but I help out my son he works full time and I have a flexible schedule. So between my husband and I, we go and help him walk his dog and that type of thing every day when we're able. So I am coming to you live from Grand Forks, North Dakota, which is where my home-based business is based out of my house. And before we get started, I'm just going to do a couple disclaimers. If you hear an air compressor or a nail gun or hammering going on, we're building a shed in our backyard. The room that I am in is a lower level of a split that faces the backyard, so you might hear some of that going on. So we're just going to work through it. I want to make sure that we're able to go, get crafting, and do all that. So I'm going to formally welcome you. Hi, my name is Susie. I am the owner of the Speckled Loon, a handmade business in Grand Forks, North Dakota, and we have got a subscription box for DIYers. At craft fairs and things, I sell finished projects, but I do have a group of customers that enjoy DIYing. And so a year ago, we started a subscription box where you get this nice little box full of projects every 3 months. It's a quarterly box. And our summer box launched May 21st. And so what we're going to do today is our box has got 3 different themes in it. I'm just going to bring that up real quick to show you. And then today we are painting the patriotic themed items. Tomorrow we're doing farm life. And the next day we are doing, on Wednesday, we're doing the ice cream shop projects. So I'm just going to bring it up. There is a base of a barn, an interchangeable gnome, and this little cutting board tag. In the upper right-hand corner, you can see the finished projects. We did the gnome hat and the cutting board tag last week. Today, we are going to be going from left to right, the flag, the stars and stripes, standing star, the top hat, and we're going to do the banner, and we are going to do this little circle with the magnet that goes at the top of the barn. We're also going to be affixing a little brace on the back of the barn to hold the flag. So that's what we're going to be working on today. I'm going to just come back to me for a minute. And in a minute, what we're going to do here is we are going to switch the camera to an overhead view, and I'm going to start making everything for that patriotic project. So I'm going to be telling you what colors I'm using, what techniques I'm using, and that type of thing. So I am going to just move a couple things around here and get it set up so our camera can come to an overhead view. I'm not so fancy that I have 2 cameras yet. So we're just going to take the camera that I've got mounted to my laptop here. I've got one of those little overhead view tripod things that's going to hold it, and we're going to go from there. So I'm going to move my keyboard, and if you're interested in our box, below this video, below here, it's got the link to purchase. And then also, if you are in Facebook or YouTube, I believe I have got the link for purchasing it there too. So pinned to like the top, it'll be one of the top comments. So you can find that. So if you have any questions too, you can reach out, you can type them in, and I will be looking at the screen occasionally to answer questions and comments. Again, if you're joining me live, say hello, say hi. That's great. I don't know what kind of crowd we'll get here on a Memorial Day Monday. You know, a lot of people are off work or whatever, but we'll see. I just thought it'd be fun to paint the patriotic projects, on Memorial Day, since it's kind of a patriotic day for our country in the U.S. So I'm just going to move a couple things around here and bring down the arm. This is the little thing that the camera is going to mount to. I'm take you for a little ride here for a second. And then when we're done with this, I'll bring it back and we will have it back up at the top, and you can see me when I'm talking, but we'll still you'll still hear me. So that's the main thing. And then you'll see me, I'll be working on these projects here. So like I said, for the patriotic projects, I already did the tag for the cutting board tag. And I already did the interchangeable gnome hat and token last week when we were painting online. So those are done already. The main colors I'm going to be using are Waverly colors. And excuse my dirty paint bottles, but the blue I'm using is this ocean blue. If I'm using white paint, it is this Waverly white paint. You get it right at Walmart. And the red is this beautiful crimson red. I have the big bottles, but you can get 8-ounce or 2-ounce bottles of most of the colors too. And you can use whatever colors you want. But we're going to be doing this little top hat. It's 2 pieces, okay? This flag, it's 2 pieces. And then this is a brace we're going to put on the back of the barn to hold the flag. This is the little banner hooks, and the these have an adhesive backing on them that I'll peel off and put on. And we'll do this little circle, and it's got a little magnet that's going to go on the back of it, so it will go on the barn. I'm going to get the barn down here in a minute to just show you. This is what it looks like with the stuff in it, the banner, the little circle that goes at the top, and everything that's we're going to be working on today. We may or may not paint it exactly like this, but it'll be close. And I'm just going to tell you kind of how I go about painting everything, and then we'll go from there. So what I like to do when I'm about to paint, I figure out my colors. I figure out what I want to do, and then I kind of sort them out. So I know I want to do this base in that ocean blue. So I'm going to set that aside. I know for my letters and numbers on that banner, I'm going to be using markers. So I'm just going to set those aside for a minute. I'm going to be making the America red with a red marker. I'm going to be doing the 1776 in a silver metallic. Okay. And these are the little banner hooks. They're pre-painted. I don't need to do a thing with them. I know this is going to be red, white, and blue. I'm going to be using markers on this the whole time. And set that aside here. Okay, just to get it out of the way. And I've got the stars and stripes. Now, just don't call me a cheater, but I worked ahead on this a little bit because I know I'm going to have to get in super close with this. And I've got bad eyes, and I don't want my head to be in the camera. So I'm going to have to take it offline and work on it. But what I did here was I painted this white with a white sponge, okay, and just went all over it, including where the red lines are. And then these are etched in lines. And to keep the paint out of them, I just drug a pin through, a straight pin through to keep that nice straight line. And then I'm going to color in this with the red marker. So I'll do the final stripe, but for me to sit and do every single stripe was going to take way too long. So I just figured I'd get a head start on this piece. All right. So I'm going to set that aside for a minute. This I know I want to paint blue. I'm going to do it with a marker since it's got so much openings in it and everything. The marker is going to be easier than paint on this. Paint tends to glob in the little areas in here, and I like to use a marker on those types of things. And I know I'm going to be using blue. Now, I know I'm going to be painting the background of this white, and then we're going to add some stripes in later. So that I'm going to be doing the same color. This is going to be blue with a blue marker, same as that stars and stripe. The flag, I know I want the background on that white. And then this is going to be a combination of red on the stripes and blue on the sign. And I'm going to be a combo of probably paint and markers on that. And then that's going to lay over that so the white will come through that star and through the stripes. And then this, we don't have to paint it all. I'm just going to set it over here in this little tray. That is what we are going to use on the back of our barn to affix and have a place to put our flag, because it's hard for the flag to stand up because this is, you know, the bottom of it. So I'm going to take out the things that I want that base coat of white on first, because that is going to need to dry. So I'm going to just leave these here for a second. I'm going to bring up my paper plate. And when I'm painting things, I like to just make a loop with painter's tape and stick things down. It's just easier. I get less paint on myself. And then here's my palette of paint, red, white, and blue that I'm going to be using. That's that Waverly white. There's the red, and there's the blue. I am just going to take, and you get these sponges in your kit, which is really fun. I'm going to just take that and get just a little bit on there. Just set that aside for a second. And I know that I want the whole part of the flag that is going to be showing through to be white. I don't really have to worry about getting the sides. I do not have to worry about getting even this pole, because that's going to get covered up by the overlay. But I do want to make sure that I have got enough white on there to where nothing unfinished is going to poke through. And I think since this is just going to be a background, one coat is going to be enough. That's the nice thing about this chalk paint, is you get pretty decent coverage with one coat. Sometimes you need to do 2 coats, especially if you're working with yellow. For some reason, yellow is one of those colors where 1 coat is never enough. Okay, so here we go. I see I've got a good coverage there. All right, so that one's good. And now this I'm going to cover completely with white too. So I'm going to make sure I've got my sponge here. Yep. Okay. Nice thing about these sponges too is if they get dry, you can just cut the end off and just start anew. But I like to work so I don't get a bunch of overblade on the edges. I like to keep the edges of the pieces that crisp brown color from the laser. And by painting our biggest pieces first, that gives them the most time to dry also. I hope you hear that hammer in. They're building the door for our shed right now. So that is what is going on here. So I am just going to double check on my phone, make sure we're still live. I always like to do that. Yep. Okay. So we've got our base pieces done. I'm going to set those aside, the white pieces. I'm going to set those aside to dry. Now the next thing I want to paint with one of the sponges is the banner. And I want to do that one blue. So I'm going to take and get, again, I'm just taking on my And you just really do not need much paint for any of these projects, but I'm just getting my sponge. And on here, you'll see it is engraved on there, 1776 in America. That's so we know where to place things. When I paint, it's going to somewhat cover that up, and that's fine. I just need it faintly visible so that I am able to place the items when I'm ready. So it's going to look like it disappears almost, but up close to you when you are working with it, you will be able to see that faint outline, and it's just a micro inch smaller than the actual item. So when you place your item on there, it hides that indent or that etching completely. It's just part of how the projects I choose or I design are engineered. Some designs I purchase, some designs I make myself from scratch. It just depends on the look I'm going for and if I'm able to achieve it, or if somebody else has already made it, then I can modify it and I don't have to reinvent the wheel. So that is how quick we are to paint the base of that banner. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working with the pieces I'm going to do markers with. So I am going to do markers. I know blue markers on this hat and on this star. Let's see if I can get them to both be on there at the same time. There we go. And I'm going to use a blue marker on them. And the marker I'm using for this, and I'll tell you the brand, but this one is the new Sharpie Creative Markers. It's a brush marker. I'm just going to move that cord a little bit. That's annoying. There. It is a brush marker, and that's what it looks like. It actually looks like a brush. And you basically, I like to use the side of the brush when I'm doing bigger pieces. And you can just go right on like this. And I'm doing this all one color. If you wanted, you could do a light and a dark blue and do a gradient if you wanted. But I'm just doing one color. Okay. Again, I'm working on the 4th of July projects from our DIY Decor Kit Summer Box. We have got just a few boxes left. In fact, right before I came on, somebody had ordered one. So we got another one out the door here about 5-10 minutes ago. And we've got just a few left. And once they're gone, they're gone. Okay. And then what happens is when you order, every 90 days, you get a new one. So we launched this box on the 21st of May. The next one will be the fall box, and that comes out the 21st of August. So well in time for you to get your fall things done. And that's going to come with some base pieces. And again, interchangeable inserts, just like we're doing here. And we've got our winter one comes out November 21st. And so that's basically takes you for December, January, and February, winter months. So we always send them just a little bit before the official season. I go with the seasons of the year, and then I incorporate either holidays or the actual season in the decor, and sometimes just general decor. In fact, on the winter box, one of the themes is going to be a general everyday theme. So when it's not a season, you can have that up. But I really like the coverage I'm getting with these Sharpie markers. If you are just joining us live, if you want to just leave a little wave or a hello in the comment and tell me where you're coming from, that's great. If you're eating your lunch, what are you eating? I'm going to eat lunch after this and take the dog for a walk. So I'm trying to be done with all these projects by 1. We'll see. We'll see if I get there. We're going pretty good though. Okay, so that is this one. And I'm going to just bring it up close to my eyes real quick to make sure I've got good coverage. I haven't missed any spots. It looks pretty good to me. And I really like, I'll take it up off of this. I really like the coverage you get with that marker. And look how you don't get any bleed through or big globs of paint. So these paint markers are really nice. This is something new from Sharpie. They're an acrylic marker, acrylic paint pen, I guess you could say, and they're called Creative Marker by Sharpie, and it's a pack of 12, and this is the blue that comes in there, and it's a nice kind of cobalty royal blue. It isn't a deep navy blue, but it's a nice just basic blue, patriotic blue I'll call it. I think the flag, technically the blue for the USA flag is a super dark blue, but when I paint super dark blue, especially on camera, it comes off looking black, and I don't care for that look. I want to look like it's true red, white, and blue. So if you can see, this is the nice thing about the precision cut that we get with that laser is all the projects are engineered to fit precisely together, and I get the same result every time I cut. And I run a shop with 2 lasers in it, so I'm able to get my kits done a lot quicker. So that's how quick it is to paint that hat. Again, I'm going to take and just do a quick look up, make sure I've got coverage everywhere. Okay, I'm liking that a lot. That's nice. So we're going to continue on with our marker pieces. So I'm going to set that star aside. I'm going to set that top hat cover aside. And I'm going to go with this flag overlay because that's going to have about 3 different colors going on it. Just going to move my tape a little bit. Again, I'm just bind up a little tape here and go on like that. So the flag beneath it's got that white overlay that will show up through these lines. These lines are going to be red. I will use a red marker. And this right here is going to be blue. So I'm just going to come in with this blue marker, and I'm going to eyeball it here, but I'm going to come right up to where that line would start, where I'm going to color the red. And I'm just going to go for it. And then this here, I'm going to use a silver marker. So if I get a little bit of blue right there, that's fine. If I overcolor it a little bit. But here, this is easy to go around, this star opening. Okay. And I'm going to bring that over. Okay. I'm going to let that dry before I color over it with the silver. But you can see where I got a nice edge on that blue. It's hard to see with the blue tape. But there you go. And now I'm going to take my red marker and go on this with the red. So I'm going to use a little bit bigger of a red marker. I like this red. This is from Arteza, and it's true red, and I really like this red. So I'm going to take, and I'm just going to go line by line, and where the blue meets the red, I'm just going to go in very gently and color that in. And I just want to make sure I get that whole line, kind of start far away from the blue, and then just inch my way up. All right, and if you're joining us, be sure to say hello. I like to see where people are joining me from. It's my goal with my website to hopefully ship to every state in the U.S. I'm going to, later on this month, I am going to go and look at all my orders and see how close I am. But I just did my 500th order on my website here the other day. So it's like, and I didn't start my website right away when I started my business years ago. I started it a few years in. So I want to go in and see how many I'm at statewide. Because when I do shows, obviously most of my customers are from Minnesota and North Dakota, because that's where I do my shows. So on my website, it's kind of fun to see where I get people subscribing from. Today I had a new subscriber, and I think she was from Virginia, and I think that's my first subscriber from Virginia. So what I'm doing here is I am taking a silver marker. And this one is one I just found online to try. I'm testing it out. And sometimes if I like things and test them out, I will put them in as a bonus crafting tool in our kit. So here I am doing the flagpole, and I'm doing silver because I'm thinking of like a chrome or stainless steel flag or aluminum flagpole that would be silver. And it's got that slight metallic look to it. So that is our flag overlay. That is all done. And that is going to, in a minute, we will take our white background and just glue those two pieces together, and then your flag is going to be done. So I'm going to set that aside. While I have the silver out, remember I said I was going to be doing those 1776 in silver. So I'm just taking them. They're super teeny tiny. And when the pieces are super teeny tiny in the kit, I like to make them have a pre-adhesive backing, so you do not have to worry about gluing such small pieces. Whoops, tighten that down a little bit. There we go. And that is our 6. I did a couple of these craft with me sessions last week in the afternoon, and the one that I did at noon kind of got the most views. So that's why I'm trying at noon instead of 1. We will see if that's the case still. I never know. Today's a holiday, and there's probably people at the lake and that type of thing. So probably not a ton of people sitting online today. I hope you're outside enjoying the beautiful weather. Our clouds finally parted, and we have got, excuse me, a bit of sun peeking through, but we've had some rainy weather here, and we don't need rainy weather. We're in the land of basements, and basements flood when there's rain, so that's not good. So that is the 1776 in that silver metallic. It doesn't show up super great on camera, but that's what that looks like. I'm going to take out my, I'm going to get, and it's real important with these paint markers that you close them up tight. I'm going to take the word America, and I'm going to go in that with my red that I just used, that 2 red Arteza marker. And sometimes instead of just white, I like to do silver on Patriotic projects. I just feel it adds a little extra to it. Get a lot of red, white, and blue, and I just feel like silver is a complementary color to that for myself. So I like to use a silver metallic when I can. Okay, we are getting there, aren't we? Hopefully we can make it hour or less. That is my goal. Don't want to take up your time, but I want you to see how easy these projects are to color. There's a lot of projects in our box, but really, truly, there's over 20, and you can finish them all in just a couple of afternoons. You know, maybe you've got a time of the week that is your crafting time. I hope you do, or something creative for you. It doesn't have to be crafting. But I like to have a dedicated space for my crafting, and since it's my business, I kind of have taken over the entire house. And I like to have a time when I do it, especially when before I was doing it as a business. For me personally, I used to scrapbook, do things like that. Here, this is colored red now. This is America. Okay, and I've got good coverage on that. I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to set these little letters aside. Try not to lose them. I'm famous for that. Okay, and set those aside. So what do we have left to paint now? We've got our circle. I'm just going to take a quick look. We've got to get going on this circle. This is little, but it's got lots of parts to it, or lots of colors on it. It's red, white, and blue. Again, on these small parts, I like to do, and this is how I painted it, and we'll do something similar here, okay? I like to do markers. It's just easier for me. It's just a bit easier for me. So I'm going to take this blue marker that we've been using. I am going to take a white marker, a brush marker, okay? And then I'm going to come in with a super skinny red marker after that and do the red stripes. But what I like to do on this, oh, here's the white one. Yeah, okay. Almost did a red where I needed white. Okay, so I'm going to do the white first, and I'm going to do all these lines down here white, and then I'll just color over red over the white. But if you see on this little guy, there are all these little lines that are deeply scored in there. That's to help you guide with your painting. And then this faintly scored one is to tell you that's where you put your star. Okay, so when they're deeply scored, I want those to show up. That's when I'm going to take that pin if I get too much paint on there. But I'm taking a white paint marker now, and I'm just going right up to that line on the top, and I'm going to go over the lines. And this is the nice thing about when you use a marker. Usually you don't get globs of paint in your lines, which is perfect, right? So I'm doing the white first. And I'm also going to make my star white, all right? I may or may not come back and do a second coat of that white. It's not super bright, but it's maybe bright enough. Maybe you're going for that more Americana look, which is more of a cream or an ivory, I would say. But, oh, yeah, a second coat really helps. In fact, I'm only going to do a second coat on the ones that I'm keeping white. And I may come back and even brighten those up a little bit more, because I'm going to be going over red on that one and that one. So that doesn't matter how bright the white is. But we'll leave that alone for a minute. Let that dry. I'll work on my blue on the top of the circle. How are we doing for time? It's 12:29. We're halfway through almost. Trying to get this done. And I didn't start painting promptly at 1. So I'll give myself a little grace in the back end if I have to. We probably started painting at noon. At about, I went over the line. 2 or 3 minutes after the hour. So if I go over a little bit, maybe we're okay. If you're just joining us, type in the comments, say hello. If you have a flub-a-dub like I did right there, you just go over with the other marker. That cleans it right up. Again, I'm going to go over and brighten up that white a little bit. And I see a little piece of blue that I missed on an edge. Okay. Liking these Sharpie markers. They're brand new to the market. I bought them specifically to test so you guys could see how they work. Pretty happy with how they are working so far. So for the little red, I'm going in with this red marker here into these stripes. And it's a very fine marker, but it gets good color. And the nice thing about a fine marker, again, you can go right up to that edge. I like to start a little farther away from the edge and then go all right. So there's our first red stripe, and I'll bring it close to my eye here to make sure that I've got good coverage. Pretty good. I'm going to come in here a little bit. I see a spot or two that I missed. And then we're going to go in and we'll do the other red stripe. But we've got to start on all our projects within the first half hour. That is excellent. Again, it is my goal to just kind of show you the easy ways to do these projects and how fun it can be to create your own decor. It's just kind of a satisfying thing. People come to your house and you're like, yeah, I made that. I did that. You know, and everything came for me and it was all ready. Basically, all you have to do is provide your paint and markers and you're ready to roll. So we're going to finish up this star here. Again, I did this base white and then each of these stripes I colored in just like this with this red marker. It's repetitive and I need to get in really close with my eyes. So I did not want to do this one and 100% on camera. But you get the gist. Once you see somebody paint, that's how they paint. You're just dragging the color across, trying to keep it as neat as possible. Okay. Okay, we're getting there. We're going to work on the back of our top hat here pretty soon. But there is our other stripe. And that goes with this. Now, I like this because you can decide how you want your stripe to be. You can have it be diagonal or straight on. You decide with your project because it's engineered to fit the star no matter what. So this one is going to be ready to be glued together as soon as that last little strip dries up. I'm just coming in close here to make sure I have good 100% coverage with my marker. There we go. All right. I have super bad vision of a fruit bat, I like to say. Dip that this got into some paint, but okay. I need a little bit here. All right. So I am going to get this one put together. So to put this together, it's pretty easy. This star has got an adhesive backing. I like to take my little pen tool or a straight pin to get that adhesive off on those small pieces. It gets it in there really nice. And there's that just faint little outline. I'm going to bring it up here so you can see my outline. And I want to get my star on there. And before I get it on there and press it down hard, straighten it out and have that. Okay. And then for the back, to get the magnet on, the magnet does have an adhesive backing. However, I will tell you that the adhesive isn't the strongest. So what I like to do is to just take a drop of super glue, and you get the glue. It's a little different than what I'm using today, but you get a tube of gel super glue included with your kit. Literally, all you have to do is supply your paint. Everything else is thought of in this kit. And there I'm putting my magnet on, and I'm going to let that set aside. But we do have one piece totally complete. Granted, it's the smallest piece, but it is totally complete. Okay. So we're going to keep working with our adhesive pieces because they are the easiest ones to finish. So let's go with our banner. Our blue is dried, and if I want to distress or do anything with that, I could. I'm going to leave it as is. Have this be kind of a, because we're going to do tons of distressing with the Farm Life projects tomorrow. And you get a distress kit with this. So we're going to peel off our America. That's, again, got an adhesive backing. Usually what I do is I put an adhesive backing on the words because those are the easiest to get so many tiny little thin pieces. And it's really easy to get the glue on too thick. And then it's like, oh, I do not like how that looks. So this is, you just basically peel it off, and this has got a stickiness on it. It's already adhered to the wood when I cut it, so that when I cut it out, it comes right on there. Now I am just bringing this off camera so I can get this lined up real good. And there it is, but it's lined up right on that line of that etch that was there. Okay. I'm going to take my blue. I missed a little spot here. There we go. But so there is the America on that. And then the 1776, these are super tiny. So again, I might have to take this off camera a little bit so I can get this lined up. But I'm just peeling off that backing. And I'm seeing where that one is. It's right there. And I'm going to take it off and just make sure I've got it on there nice and straight, lined up, covering that outline. And I do. That's pretty straight. And then I'm going to take one of my 7s, do the same thing. I'm taking my little pen tool, just peeling off that adhesive backing, giving this a good line up. If you're just joining us, hello. If you're getting us on the replay, which most people do, hello, and just do a hashtag replay or say hello in the comments. I would appreciate that. It's enjoyable to see where people are tuning in from in the comments. And again, if you're interested in getting this kit, the link is scrolling at the bottom of the page, and it's also in the comment section. So I'm just taking this and lining it up. Pardon that it's off camera for a second. There we go. Get that straightened up. You have a couple seconds before the adhesive is set. So I like to play with that and then get it lined up nicely. And I'm going to take this 6, same thing. Peel that off and get that 6 on there. And I try to make these projects for you easy to complete, but you can make them as detailed or as fancy as you want. Okay, if you're good with freehand and want to do some scrolls with a marker or some paintbrush, by all means do it. But this is simply done. I see a little bit of red where I missed. probably just go over that. There we go. All right, and that's the nice thing about these markers. You can touch everything up easily, even after the piece is put together. So we've got 2 pieces done, right? We have got our little circle done, and we have got our banner done. That's 2 out of 5. We're doing good. How are we doing for time? 38 minutes in. Awesome. All right, so the last thing we need to work on is we're going to work on, you could do your Stars and Stripes hat just like that and have it be blue and white, but I do want to add a little red in there. What I'm going to do is I am going to take and line this up, and I am going to line it up on the bottom here. I'm just going to use a clamp so it stays tight. And then these are little clamps were in our bonus tools too one time. I think in the winter kit. And I'm going to have the first stripe and the third stripe be red. And then I want this down here, the little brim, to be red. So what I'm doing is I am taking a marker and I'm drawing right in here, and I'm going to color in and just a little bit outside of that to get that red stripe that's going to show through. I have not glued this down yet, so I can take this apart and then do my coloring in. So I'm going to color in this brim too. I just want to make sure that I don't get where the stars are because I want those to stay white. So, and I know I can go all the way up to the top and all the way to the side, and I can go kind of around this whole thing, but I just want to make sure. So what I'm going to do here is I know that this is going to be covered with the edge. Oh, my watch is telling me to get up and walk. It's going to have to wait. I'm going to get up and walk the dog here as soon as we're done. So I'm going to come here with that. And I like how these markers go right over the paint. It's kind of nice to know that you can get good coverage with your markers, even if you have a base coat on there, because a lot of times I like to do a base coat of white. Just makes for an easier thing, because then the things that are white, I don't have to come back and paint later. Okay, I'm missing a little spot in there. So I'm going to bring that in. And that in. On the bottom, I feel like I've got good coverage. I'm going to come up just a little higher here to avoid any white. Okay, I don't want to get in the stars though, and I have not. So I'm good on the bottom. Now I'm going to work on those 2 stripes that I outlined. So I know on this one, I can take it just a little lower. I can take it all the way to the edge, and I can take it all the way to the top. And I'm going to fill it in, and I'm going to go just a little bit more because we do have that bar in between. Okay. And I'll check it. And if your marker seems like it's getting low on paint, sorry for shaking there. You give it a little pump on these Arteza ones, and it goes and gives you a little more paint in it. Okay. So I'm going to check that first stripe, see how I'm doing. Okay, I can go over this. I've got just a little bit of white showing, so I can go over this way just a little bit more. Okay. Check that one. I like to get one done before I hop on over and do another. All right, that's pretty good at the top here. I can go over to this side just a little bit more. Okay, so now I'm going to do this stripe. Now I know I can go all the way up to the top with this, again, because of that brim and that outline on the blue. You also can do this to shake it up a little bit. I'm going to pump it over here on my paper plate. Get that paint flowing. Okay, that's a little better. This is one of my better used markers. I'm going to, like I tell everybody, I really like that Arteza set. You get, I'll show you, you get 40 markers in there. but mine is well loved and well used. I've been using it nonstop for about 3 years, and some of the more used colors are definitely a little dried out and worse for wear and need replacing. So I'll probably have to order another set or just the individual ones. You can do either or with that brand. Sometimes you can't do that with other brands like that. Our Sharpie brand comes and it's 12 markers and it's all one set and you don't get individual ones. All right, so I'm going to check with my outline, see how I'm doing. Okay, I can come over a little bit in each direction on it on the bottom here. I'm going to just start using my side. I might even come in. That's the other nice thing about the Arteza. The fine tip and the larger tip are in the same color. So you can kind of use them interchangeably if you just need a little bit. Okay. I think we'll be really close here. Got a little white spot showing through there on that stripe toward the bottom. Check it again. But look, it kind of looked like a hot mess till you put it all together, right? So that looks pretty good. I'm going to come in here just the littlest bit. Okay, I think we're good. So that's going to be able to go together. So let's do a check on what I think we've got all our painting done. We just need to do a little precise gluing. So I'm going to get out a couple of clamps. And we're going to glue some things together because we're not doing any more adhesive stuff. We just need to glue some things. So I'll get a couple of my clamps here. We'll do some gluing and then any touch-ups that we may need to do. But this one, just you can see where that just goes over that. They match up perfectly. If you get some, you want to make sure you don't have any paint showing. If you do, you can go over that with a black marker. I can show you how that works after we get it all done together. But when I glue, I take my glue, and you're going to have a precision applicator too. And if it isn't precise enough, you can take and put your glue on a toothpick. But this one is nice, this precision applicator, because I get the tiny drops, and you don't need, this is super glue. So I try my best not to get it on my skin, and I try best to do tiny dots, especially around the perimeter. On these middle strips, it really doesn't matter if they have glue or not, for the simple fact that the edges are going to be what holds it together, and it's such a small piece that it doesn't matter if there's glue on those edges, on those middle strips. So I like to take mine, and before I even push them together, I kind of get my hands on here and line everything up. I want to make sure edge to edge, top to bottom. And if it's this one doesn't have a flat bottom, but if it did, I would, put it down on a nice sturdy flat bottom. And I see where I've got a little overage here on the white paint. I'll show you how I touch that up here in just a second. See if I can find my black marker and do that little trick for you. Might be over here. There it is. I'm going to take my black marker, if I've got some overpaint, which I do here, and I just rub along the edge, and then everything's black again. But you see where I've got this little bit of white sticking out here? That's just white paint that overbled. I just take my black marker and go over it. Then I just get a nice crisp edge on everything, and it just gives it that finished look. So that is complete. So we're down to 3 pieces complete. I'm going to clamp that a little bit just to get it good and set while we're working on our next one. Okay, we're getting there. 47 minutes we're into it, so we've got to keep it moving. So we're 3 down, 2 to go. 3 down, 2 to go. So let's take our flag. One thing I know I'm going to do with this flag right away is I am going to take my black marker and just get this edge right here, because I see where I've got a little overage. And that's just going to make it a little, and just color in just a tiny bit. Just the littlest bit on that flagpole piece to make sure ahead of time. You can do this ahead of time or afterward. But I just ran it along there. So I know I'm not going to have any raw, unfinished part of the project showing. And this one's, I just want to make sure, I like to do a dry run before I put any paint on, kind of see how I best want to hold it. See one more edge I want to touch up here. I went a little over with my silver marker. There. Okay. And I'm going to take this. Now, and then fun thing about this is if I wanted my flag to point the other way, I could have just done this on the back side. You know, would have gotten the same result. But I like my flag to be this way for some reason. It just feels logical to me. So I'm going to close that marker. I am going to get the paint going on my flag. I'm going to get a good amount up and down that pole. I'm going to get some on this around the back of the star. I'm going to do a tiny bit on these because there's a little flex in here, and I want to make sure I get them so they're not going to be wobbly. So just a drop or so on each one. And when I am putting this together, since this bottom one kind of flexes in, I want to make sure I don't squeeze. I want to make sure I just hold it and don't squeeze because I don't want it to have the white showing through. So again, I'm going to get my edges kind of lined up. I've got a flat edge here I can work with. And before I get them together, I kind of get it all lined up with my fingers. And then I start, okay, I've got it a little on the bottom showing. And you have a few seconds of work time with your glue. Not a ton, but you do have a little bit of time to work with it before it is set. And since this one is flexible, I'm going to take and just kind of hold that one down. Okay, and then I'm going to take my clamps, do a clamp there, do a clamp there, and this one I see I've got a little overage with my white paint on the top. So I'm just going to, while that is fresh in my memory, take up my black marker, touch that up. Because no matter how neat you try to be, you sometimes get that little, I call it overpaint, overspray, whatever. And it's just real easy to fix and make look nice. Now that looks normal. So I'm going to let that hold. We've got one more here to put together. Our last piece is this star. And then when we have everything together, I will tuck it in the barn and show you how everything works. So we just have to put this overlay on this star. You have to decide how you want it. Do you want it straight? Do you want it diagonal this way? This diagonal? That diagonal? Okay. I think I'm going to do it this way. And then, because I've done one straight and I've done one the other way. So I think I will do it this way. So what I like to do is when I know what direction I want something, I like to set that down, take my top piece. I know this is always the top with the stars up here. So, and get my glue on that top piece. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to go super light around the edges, get a good size drop on these bigger stars because that's really going to hold it in. I'm not going to worry so much about the middle, maybe a little bit here and there, but not a ton. It's not a big piece, so it's going to adhere pretty good. But I just do a very thin bead on all these, and I try to go to kind of in the middle of this line. The reason being the middle is then I shouldn't have a bunch of glue oozing out either side on the inside of my piece or the outside of my piece. If you do on the outside, again, you can color it over. So now with the star, it's pretty precise. I like to get my fingers right in there like this and get everything going. And I'm checking my edges and my points to make sure I've got things lined up nicely. Kind of get on my flat side here. But these stars are pretty easy to put together and get lined up very nicely. I don't have a lot of overage with my white. I kind of checked that before we came on. But that one is ready to roll. I'm going to take my clamps. Okay. And do that. So now we've got all of our patriotic pieces together, ready to roll. I'm going to show you how everything fits in that barn. And then, oh, and we have to get our brace on the back of the barn. That is our last little bit that we have to do. So I'm going to grab a barn here that does not have a brace on the back. So here's our barn. And what I'm talking about brace on the back is I'm going to put a little brace on the back here so our flag will stick up off to the side, because it's hard to get it to stand up because this is all there is to it for the bottom. So I'm going to just clear a couple things here. Let this just rest right like that. I know I want my barn to come off this side. Okay, so this is the side I want it to come off. So I'm going to mount my little brace back here, and I'm going to mount it so it's just kind of flush with the side, just in just a little bit. And then this is a little bracket that's going to hold things. So I'm going to take my glue, and I'm getting a good amount on here. And if I get a little bit that oozes out, it doesn't really matter because it's on the back of our piece. Okay. Sometimes I paint the back, sometimes I don't. This time I chose not to. How are we doing for time? Oh, 54. We're going to make it. We're going to make it. Okay. All right. I'm pressing that down real good. And then we've got a bottom brace and then the top with the hole for the flag. So I'm going to get this bottom brace in, and this is going to sit up. We're going to make it, right? We're going to make it. Okay. And then it gets a piece below it to hold it in. And that piece, I'm going to get glue all over. Okay. And it's going to butt up against the bottom of this. And this is the bottom of our brace. Just a little bit of engineering, so we're able to use our flag. Okay. Now we're going to get the top circle in, and you'll see that the flag will go through the top circle, and then this one stops it. Okay, so I'm going to get, I need glue on this part, and this part, and down here. And we want to get lots of glue down here so we make sure we have a good adhesion for our brace. Okay. So there is that. I'm going to hold that for a few seconds, get that on there. Hope everybody's having a great Memorial Day. We are almost done. We are going to, our challenge was to get 5 pieces done in an hour. I've got 4 minutes till the top of the hour, but we did not start at the top of the hour. So if I go 3 or 4 minutes past the top of the hour, we're still going to make our deadline. Okay, so that is it. So here is how we decorate our barn. First of all, we already have done this piece that goes on the cutting board. Okay, and we'll set that aside for a second. That is our cutting board star. And we already have done our interchangeable gnome with her hat and her star. Okay, she's already painted. We did those last week when we were painting online. So now today we did this project here, which is the circle. We're going to get our banner on, and these are our banner hooks. Okay, they go right in like that and right in like that, and then they're going to hang on our fence. And they are a nice snug fit, and you get a banner hooks for each banner in your set, which there are 3. This is just one of the sets or collections that we're doing. Okay, so that's on there. Then we are going to do our star, our hat, and we are going to take our flag, and that goes right in here, and our flag shows. Okay, and you're going to put it on your tiered tray with your gnome and your cutting board tag. Okay, and that's got the little stand that goes with it. We'll flip the camera around here and we'll show it all on here so you can see it. And we'll go from that, and then we will sign off for the day because I do have a hard stop here. I need to be done shortly after 1 to go do some things that walk a dog and a couple other things. So I'm going to just move this back to where we were. So now you can see my face, and we'll be talking here in just a minute. Make sure I get it lined up so I'm not too high and I'm not too low. Let's see. Stay. Okay, that's good. All right. So here is the barn. Oh, I'm going to get rid of this. With our 4th of July projects all done. Okay. And then our 4th of July gnome. And this is a little stand you get. And our cutting board tag. I'm just going to move things over a little bit. And the last thing is, of course, your bonus garland that you get in this kit that goes with everything as well. And then our set for today is complete. Again, thanks for joining me. If you're just joining me, just say hello in the comments, but we're going to wrap up for today. This was our 4th of July projects that we did, our patriotic projects on Memorial Day. So that's kind of fun. Tomorrow we're doing the farm life. We will start at noon. And my goal is to have them all done within an hour. We made our hour today, which is excellent. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via Messenger, or you can certainly just type them in the comments and I'll answer them. If you're interested in getting one of our boxes, the link is in the comments and then scrolling down below, but it's thespeckledloon.com/join. And that's how you get one. So I want to thank you for joining me today. My name is Susie. I am the owner of the Speckled Loon and the creator of the DIY Decor Kit quarterly subscription box that we are is open right now, and we've got just a few left to go. If you want one, again, the link is there. Thanks for joining me, you guys, and let me know if you have any questions, and we will see you back here again tomorrow at noon to paint the farm life projects that will go in all of this. So thanks again. You guys have a great day, and we will see you online in about 23 hours. Bye for now.